Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Oh, this is our Comic Book Team Up. This is a new show that RJ from the Fourth Age and we get together and we do it. We alternate channels. The last time was on the Fourth Age. This time is on John's Long Box. And today our guest is Renee Draws, Irene, who created the Fiendish comics. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Hello.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And wow, we got a lot of comments already. We got Alex Verb, who says he's so tired. I'm not feeling good. I'm getting sick. I have to open all this week. It's my fault. What did I do? Okay, we got Gordon Good brother. We got I can't even pronounce that. But hi, how you doing? And Yang, how you doing, Yang? And Marcus, how you doing, Marcus?
Hi.
Fritzy, Schnitzel, and I guess some of these are your people.
Oh, yeah, I know all of them. Hello,
okay.
everybody.
Yeah, I didn't recognize them. They get Fiendish. Here we go. We'll fund my comics. So we'll stop here for a little bit. Okay. You can tell it's not fake, Irene. She's fashionably. Actually, we were talking about the perils of home ownership before we started. We were talking about
I started ranting about my house. It's my fault.
Yeah, she wants to hire me. I tell her to travel to Atlanta. It costs a premium. I can't.
Yeah.
And RJ doesn't even have power yet up at his outhouse shack.
Oh, no, I have power. Although I have to scare you, John. Since my brother and I we built this entire house, we also wired it. Although we got an electrician to do the box.
Okay.
You built the whole house? That is awesome.
Yeah, he built it out of stone so the wolf wouldn't blow it down. He learns. So we got three people working on comic books talking today, and I figured with the Twitter going on, everybody's talking about like, should they help people, should they not help people, and I can't believe that that's actually a controversial subject. That like I forget who Eric July and Ethan Van Sciver are kind of like, they're not fighting, but they're I think they both like to create drama, and which is I guess good. It puts eyeballs on their projects. But I just said I like talking to people about comic books. I like talking to Renee. When I talked to Renee, she gave me an idea for to make up like symbols for a magical language that I might do if my comic makes it to a future issue. And when I talked to RJ, I stole everybody that ever worked for him. So that's how RJ helps. So I don't know. I like talking to people. There you go.
Yeah, I don't really. I've been kind of following, but kind of not, because it just seems, honestly, it seems to me like everybody is either trying to be dramatic or misunderstanding each other. I think there's most people.
You just described Twitter.
Right, yeah, that's just Twitter, right? It's just duh. But it seems like most people can agree that, of course, you should, if you. It's nice to promote other people, but there's a balance. There's a middle ground between, let's say, how you approach your own work, right? You should promote yourself, ask for promotion, but it is no one's obligation to promote you. It's nice if they do, but it's not. You shouldn't get angry at people for not promoting you. There's like a middle ground between that. And also you should pay it back to other people within whatever capability you have. It's just, and it's not like, oh, you did like 30 shows this year, but I did 20, so you didn't do enough for me. Like, it's just, we're all supposed to, a rising tide lifts all boats. That's the indie scene.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Nobody owes me anything, and I do owe people. Like I feel like I owe RJ stuff. He was one of the first people to reach out to me. So, but I'm not keeping a checklist. Oh, okay. This guy, I have to promote him because I promoted him. No, I just want to talk to people about comic books. If I may share a little anecdote, I just had Dave Brink from Genuine Comics on Wednesday, and I asked him a few questions. His comic looks amazing, and I realized I needed to step up what I was doing. I'm like, this is my competition. Like I look at Fiendish. I was like, this is my competition. Like nobody's gonna look at me, and I think my comic book is gonna look better for having talked to you guys.
Yeah, that's a great approach. Yep, I love thinking that way, and I never understand. There are some people that I've encountered, it just like doing art You know, some people are afraid of competition in any industry, I guess. And that just, I don't understand that, because when someone else is excellent or they're doing something you admire, doesn't that inspire you to do more? And our goal isn't just, it's not about our egos or just about our creations. It is about our creations, but our creations are better when we're inspired by other people and we're pushed to be better. It's
Right.
part of, it's like, I don't know, I spent, you know, I went to school for comics and I'm around artists a lot, and there's always this, like, it's not even friendly competition. It's just when you see someone else doing an awesome work, it's not just let me like talk shit about them. It's, oh my god, now I have to beat them by merit, and then it's awesome and we all laugh about it because we're doing awesome work and we're improving each other. It's just, you know, just strange to not do it that way.
I look at it. Oh, we just popped
Also,
on.
there's my camera. Hello.
We just teleported in. I look at it like this. Like, I'm going to put my comic book. You know, and geez, I'm reaching over for but they're all mixed in a stack. But my comic is going to be next to Thomas Valiant someday. My comic is going to be next to Fiendish one day, like on my spinner rack over there. And I don't want mine to be like the one that a friend comes over, doesn't know I made a comic book, and be like, look at this one. This one's garbage. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
no. Yeah.
So every time I talk to people, I get inspired to like, you know, I talked to Brian Bauer, Wolf and Betsy. He's been giving me like just ideas, working on my script. And then another guy's giving me ideas for, work with this colorist, work with this artist. Oh, this guy's good with the pre-press, which I didn't even know was a step. You know what I mean? So I think talking to people is smart if you're going to make a comic book. Now promoting, if I go on your channel, Renee, and you don't promote my comic book, should I be mad? No, I'm just happy to talk to people who like to talk about comics, because, you know, it's leveling up. You know, did we lose RJ? Yep. I know sometimes Sasquatch attacks out there.
No, you didn't lose me. I'm just enjoying the conversation, but I agree wholeheartedly with all of that. I've had some people on my channel just come into the comments and say, you need to promote me and you need to give me a chance. You need to give me work. I'm thinking, no, I don't. You need to put in some dues. And, you know, at the very least, you need to have a positive attitude and interact with me before you start asking me for something. But at the same time, that's what we're doing here, John, and what I have my other streams for, making comics fun again. That's what we need to do. I'm done with the drama. I'm all about, you know, let's have some fun.
It's funny when it comes to drama, because I'm my own worst enemy. You know, I'll fight with some stupid person with 4 followers over the stupidest thing, and then I'm too stubborn to end it. And then I'm like,
I know. Yeah, that's something that I've been just consciously trying to be better about. Is I think I'm pretty good about it, but it's hard sometimes, and you have to. It's sort of I think once you become a creator, it's not like, well, you're hoity-toity above other people, but I think being a creator means you have an obligation to present yourself more professionally. It's not just me. I'm on Twitter and I'm talking to my friends and shit posting all the time. You know, it's there's
somebody's giving me crap about mispronouncing your name, which is kind of like my standard. I mispronounce people's names.
It's not.
How do you pronounce your name?
I mean, it was not my real name, so I don't correct people, but it's Reedy, not Renee. My real name is Irene.
Okay. Well, can you read that? That's my last name.
Blah.
How do you pronounce that?
Blah.
See, so I don't give anybody any crap because nobody pronounces my name correctly. So I feel like I'm allowed to mispronounce.
Bua. Is this Bua? Bua?
Bua.
Yeah. You asked me this last time and I got it right, and you forgot.
Yes. You're one of the only people who got it right. Hey, Matt's here. I just sent Matt some work. You know, another thing. I asked somebody who would be good for something very specific that I'm looking for, and 30 people said Matt. You know what I mean? So why would people not want to promote and talk and hang out? And you know what I mean? Because, you know, they point you towards the experts.
Yep, that's true.
We can't even see
that's a great point though that you just made, which is if you do good work, the audience will reward you just because you put in the work. Like, if sort of the way I think the best way to go is to have the mentality of be so good people can't not promote you. Be so good you can't be ignored. And if you're that good, if you aim for that, then you have nothing to worry about. Why put, I mean, there is certain, like, and Eric July talks about this all the time, which I think there's some truth to it. A lot of creators, especially artists, visual artists, we don't really have business brain. I had to learn that as well. And, you know, doing business, that's different. And marketing yourself, promoting yourself, that's something that we should be better at. We have to learn. But at the same time, if your work is good, the promotion is much easier. It almost just comes to you, right? So it's very easy. Just do good work and learn to talk to people on a decent level, and then you will find success.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like even the people that hate us, whatever us is to you, they still talk about the like Wraith of God is a great freaking comic. You know what I mean? Fiendish. I put up Fiendish is one of the best independent comics. It's phenomenal. How, you know what I mean? You speak for yourself. Thomas Valiant is okay.
Thank you very much.
No, I love Thomas Valiant so much. I poached the artist.
Oh no!
Renee,
there goes your team.
Sorry, Irene. I want to ask you very quickly. Just looking at your campaigns. Now, the first campaign, I think you hit around 52,000. The second campaign, you jumped to about 200,000. So where was most of your promotion going? You know, where did you focus on for that second campaign to have such a jump, or was it just the first book that got everybody talking and excited?
I had a lot of repeat customers, but at the same time, I think I heard a lot that because I was promoting around the same people, you know, I was on Ethan's show, I was on Flash and Bancroft, and I was doing my show. But I think it was just sort of the natural progression of growing that audience. But once you put out one book and you fulfill it, there's a certain level of more people will back you because you put out one book. So
a good reputation helps.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you're a new creator, whether you're really new or not, if it's your first crowdfunding book and you're new in the indie scene, people are worried. So they want to know that you fulfilled a book and this is something you're serious about, which I am. You know, I have everything planned out. I am going to deliver these books, even if I end up, I don't know, living under a bridge and drawing. But but like, there's just natural growth of the audience. And I heard a lot with chapter 2. And even now I have people saying, oh, I saw chapter 1 and I wanted to back it, but I didn't catch your streams yet, or I kind of bookmarked it and forgot about it, but I've seen you around so much more. And just like, because I've been nonstop going on streams, and then when chapter 2 came out, they remembered, I missed out on chapter 1. I'm going to definitely back chapter 2 and get the catch up. So it's about constantly building an audience.
There's so many comics I thought I backed that I didn't, you know. That's I've been messaging people for the past couple of weeks now. I thought I backed your comic. Can I buy it from you directly or whatever, you know, eBay? I did that with Fiendish. I didn't get Fiendish #1. If you remember, I messaged you directly if you had any. So do you make do you think it's a good strategy to overproduce and have some for this, you know, second chance campaigns or anything like that?
Yeah, I have been running into a very good problem to have, which is I keep on running out of stuff, and I overprint, and I keep still running out of stuff, and that's a really good problem. That's a really good problem to have, but I also didn't expect this, and I'm still a little flabbergasted. Don't really know how to deal with it because I wasn't expecting it $200,000. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I think overprinting is definitely a good idea because this isn't just pertaining to Fiendish, because I've been doing my own comics for like a decade or so. I've been doing this for a long time, just not through crowdfunding, and just nobody really paid attention to the other like mini comics I've done. And the fact is, now I kind of wish I had more stock of that, because with a larger audience, there are people that want to buy my older stuff that I didn't overprint because I was like, oh, nobody likes my stuff. Nobody wants this book. I'm just going to like throw them in the trash. And now I don't have any left. And people just don't know about it because it's a big world. And you honestly, you never know. You never know. There's audiences that are interested, but they stay silent. They don't say anything. And there's also the audience of the future, if that makes sense. Like
Yes.
people that are your fans, but they just haven't seen your book yet. And so it's hard to plan for that or expect that. And I know artists are very self-critical, and it's very easy to fall into that hole of nobody likes my stuff, this book didn't do well, so I should just give up. But I think sometimes being a little more stepping back and being a little more confident about it is a good thing.
Yeah, you do it. You're building up an audience. Eric says he only backs 3 people, one being Renee, and the other 2 is RJ and John from John's Long Boxes. I hope.
Yes, thank you so much, Eric. Yeah,
I will say this.
Down.
I will be making one hook or by crook. I will be making one issue. Issue number 2 is up to you guys, whether or not you want to. You know, Renee has been doing so good on her campaign. She might actually be able to afford a New York electrician to come down to fix.
No. I'm not expecting like 200,000 every book. I think these things come and go, and the economy is all weird. But it's I just want to generally keep the audience, like the core audience. I think your core audience is very important, because just like with talking about Disney or Marvel and how they kind of let go of their core audience to chase a widespread general fan base, if that makes sense. I think your core audiences are the people that'll stick with you and carry you through, even if everything else goes up and down. That's sort of, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I just hope to hold on to it. That I think that's what matters.
What do you think?
To even mention your name at all.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was going to say, what do you think that the new audience is looking for? Because are you taking chances with, panel design and all that kind of stuff, doing something that has never been done before? Or are you looking at just doing standard? Because I have Fiendish #1. I haven't read, I read it when it came out, first of all. And you have a lot of obvious manga influences. And we talked about this on my channel when you're trying to incorporate like Berserk and things like that, to bring that into a sort of a North American comic. But do you think that the audience is going in that direction where they're looking for something new to be brought in? Or because I got a lot of people, there was a panel that I did, or 2 pages I did in my book, where the panels didn't go in sequence. They went around in a circle because they were like going through tunnels. And some people really loved that. Some people really hated it. But I'm just thinking, for you, unique panel design, things like that, because you have, art school under your belt. Is that what you're going for with these new books? Or are you going to just stick with your standard, whatever panel design that you're used to? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I am actually, I was like wiggling, but I was looking for my sketchbook. I don't have it here. I'll go grab it in a sec, because I'm actually doing layouts for chapter 3. And I am, with chapter 3, making a concerted effort to push myself with the visual storytelling. That includes paneling, that includes how I lay out fight scenes. And with even chapter 1, I was, the core of comics is to be dynamic and dynamic visual storytelling. But I know that with chapter 2, I did better than chapter 1. I know chapter 3 will be better than chapter 2. And there's also sort of this thing where I'm honing in on the way I want to pace my story. I think chapter 1, I'm proud of the work I did, but the pacing was a little too slow. I could have put more story content into that many pages. So chapter 2 was a little better. Chapter 3 is more condensed. I'm better at pacing. It's sort of like, there's sort of this benefit that prose writers have over comic artists, where you got to write a whole book and then kind of revise it so the whole thing is consistent. But with comics, you kind of can't do that. You put it out issue by issue, but you kind of just have to make peace with that, where the first couple of issues of every comic series looks kind of janky. And you look at whether it's American comics or manga, I remember Why the Last Man, the first issue looked so janky, and the first chapter of Berserk looks nothing like the next, like the rest of the series. But that's normal, and you have to make peace with that. And with the paneling, yes, and I can get my layouts if in a minute, but I think the feedback. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep cutting out.
Kevin asked if you have any architecture training. I figured since you were talking about your layouts and paneling, we'd lump these 2 questions together.
No, I have architects in my family, but I like drawing buildings. A lot of ours don't like drawing buildings, but because buildings are a character as well. You have to think about it as once you get past the perspective grids and the technical stuff, it's really dressing and giving a character and history. It's a lot of fun. And you
Funny
have to
thing
think
about
about
your
it that way.
buildings, I find you're very medieval in your description of it, where you go back to a lot of manga and stuff like that, and they're more of a late, no, I would say early modern. You know, you see things that are very straight lines, but yours is very rounded, very medieval. I love that about the buildings that you draw.
Thank you very
I
much.
don't know if anybody saw, but Friday I had Tonic Mole and I had Terry Moore of Strangers in Paradise, and somebody had asked them if, is it okay to go back and change your work and revisit? And they both at the same time said, no, you got to move on. Got to move on. You could drive yourself crazy constantly updating your old artwork. And, there comes a point every time I send out a script, because I just write. And I sent out the script today. I sent out a script a couple of days ago. An hour later, I wished I could recall the emails and change something. But when does that end? I won't, I could constantly, and I'm just a writer. I can only imagine it's got to be worse for an artist. I don't like that hand. Oh my God, why did I draw that sword that way? Oh, I could have told. So,
Yeah, I have. Oh yeah, no, it's I have a story about, not really a story, but yes, I understand because so I have this book that's, I call it the Fiendish Preview book. It's the first half of chapter 1 that I brought to New York Comic Con, and it's kind of a rare book now because it's a floppy. Like the main Fiendish books, they're perfect bound, but I have a floppy that was like the first edition of like just half of the first book. That was kind of a teaser in New York Comic Con in 2019, way back in the ancient olden days. But the what you can see if you have that book is I went back and I redrew like half of it before it came out. I changed character designs and I was redrawing things right until print for chapter 1. And with chapter 2, it was the same thing. Part of it was I noticed my own mistakes, and part of it was I just still wasn't happy with it. And then chapter 2 printed, and there's still things I'm not happy with. Nobody else has complained about any of the visual storytelling in chapter 2, but I don't like it. I don't like it. So I was like, the books printed, we shipped them, and then I'm like, I went through and flipped it. I was like, I need to fix this. And then my colorist refused to recolor. Like he was like, I will do these 2 things and then none of these. Like, you're not making me recolor this. And so you have him to thank for reining me back and not having, letting me redo a bunch of shit. Even though it is, I think you have to restrain yourself. It can't be like, I want to redraw the whole book, because if I just had free reign and I had 48 hours in every day, I would redraw chapter 1, but I know I can't do that. But I think that it's reasonable to do some tweaks for a second edition or for an omnibus edition. I think that's completely reasonable, but you have to have some limits on that, of course.
I love the fact that when I make mistakes, I try to work it into the continuity to make it something that actually means something in the future.
Yeah.
That's the old Marvel method, right? You made him. It's not a mistake. It's just something we didn't figure out. So RJ's giving himself no prizes.
Can I get my sketchbook?
Sure. Me and RJ will filibuster while you do what you need to do. RJ no prizes himself. Yes. Does anybody in the audience even know what I'm talking about? RJ and I are I know Marcus is my age also. RJ, what do you feel about this? They repackaged old Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, Shazam, Captain Marvel, and they made these expensive collector's edition books. And they wanted to take out, I forget the character's name, but he had like, a black caricature with the big lips and everything. And they ended up leaving him in, if I'm correct. And a bunch of people were upset by this. And I look at it as, this is a historical document. It's a $100 book. You know what I mean? I can understand if you're making a trade paperback for kids to read. that's a different story. But what do you guys feel about this? I know it's not exactly what we're talking about.
No, I think you need to leave the art as it is. You need to leave them. I mean, it's almost something part of history right now. I'll tell you something that just happened over the holiday weekend for Christmas, John. Listening to Nat King Cole, and I can't remember which one of his songs, and they actually cut out a line so that they could put it on the radio. I'm thinking, that's the stupidest thing in the world. That's not the song. And it's the same thing with comics. I'm sorry, but go back to the spirit, and people look at it now and they say, this is Will Eisner. He's the grandfather of comics, but some of his characters, you can't put them on a page anymore. You can't reprint that stuff. I'm going, so what? I mean, this is what was happening at that time. You can't take it out. You can't get rid of it. It's the way it was.
I just have to ask, what did you get a no prize for, Mortal V? And you actually got the empty envelope? I never got one. But Renee's back. Oh my God, I don't know what to say now. I'm all second.
How dare you?
I'm just gonna say Sharon. It's easy to say, and I don't know. Sharon is now back, everybody.
Why am I a Sharon?
I don't know. It's
I have to say, her first name is easier to pronounce than her last name.
Yeah, you can call me my last name.
Wow, look at that.
It's fine. I won't.
I'll embiggen. What do you got there?
I have to hold it back a little bit. I just want to show everybody the panel layouts, but I don't want it to be spoilery. So
okay. How's that? Is that better? Okay.
It's fine. But yeah, I'm trying. I mean, I don't know if you can really tell, but
they all die. Is that what that says? They all die.
Yeah, totally. But I tried to kind of push the layouts more. If you've read chapter 2, I think it's pretty evident that in chapter 2, the paneling is more. The storytelling is more dense and the panel layouts are a little more dynamic than chapter 1, but I'm pushing that even more here. So chapter 1 averaged like 4 to 5 panels a page. By chapter 3, I'm averaging like 6 to 7, sometimes 8 panels a page, which is more European comics, but I'm trying to lean more towards that anyways, because I think it fits the story. And sort of like having more dynamic paneling, because I think that just helps keep interest. And the paneling sort of, even though in comics, doing a basic grid and just doing boxes, that's fine. I think that's what you should start out with, and don't be too crazy, because if you're starting out drawing comics and you try to do crazy panel layouts, you can be a genius that can do it right, but more often than not, you'll make mistakes and you'll do things like break panel borders in a way that doesn't lead the eye and that just gets in the way of the visual storytelling and the flow of the page. So starting out with just a grid layout is smart, but once you're comfortable with that, I think trying to use the panels to tell a story. There's this thing like how a comic should read at the thumbnail stage. That's what we were told in art school. And part of it is also, for example, this is an action page. Everything is diagonals. There's more motion to it. And here, this is not an action page. This is people are more just talking. You can kind of tell when time slows down, when time speeds up, when there's action, when there's not action, just by the panel layouts. And
yeah, that looks like you're channeling a little Neil Adams there, especially on the right hand side.
Yeah, just I'm astounded with all I'm amazed at all that detail that you put in. That is great. And you're not even working. You're the artist, so it's those notes are for yourself, right? That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those are actually that's like the dialogue and the notes. Yeah.
See you, Matt. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, Matt.
New Year. Yeah, those are like notes on the dialogue, and that's another thing. I mean, I don't want to turn this into like a visual storytelling, me blabbing on about that, but I think keeping your dialogue in mind and the space that it takes in mind visually when you do the layouts is important. I think
I forget, you don't do your lettering, do you?
I do.
Oh, you do your own lettering. Okay, so when you're that is, I mean, I think comic books work best when it's one person or the least amount of people doing them. Unfortunately, I wish I had access to some of my art that I've been sending Renzo. You would laugh at what I send to him, and then it's like he takes a turd, polishes it, and turns it into gold. But
oh dear, no,
I can't draw. I'm the worst. But you know what I mean. And the fact that I could write down words and send it to somebody else. And they could, and I don't use that many words, and you're writing all those words for yourself. I just find it amazing.
It's not that many when you like it's sort of, if I can fit it in the margins of these tiny thumbnails, then I mean, this is my hand and these are the letters. I write really small, but this is my normal handwriting size. But
God,
it's I don't know, I just write small. But
I just saw that panel. They're sitting in a Starbucks ordering coffee. What is going on?
Yeah, so this is now turning into a Marvel comic. They're going to be talking about their feelings for 50 pages, and then all the men will be crying.
Yeah, I saw that last panel. She's correcting somebody's pronouns.
Yeah. It's totally the direction I'm going in. But yeah, no, I figured if the dialogue fits in like these notes in the margins, and it'll fit in the page, and also sort of I try to block out the bubbles, like speech bubbles, really roughly.
Yeah. Out of this hour-long talk tonight, if you get one thing out of it, it's Renzo Turd Polisher. And so somebody, what is Rene's work? Arini? Now, God, I'm second guessing myself. Is working on Fiendish 2.5, and here's the link to her campaign. Wonderful comic. It like I said, I've seen you around, but when I got the comic, I didn't know who you were. I was like, oh my God, this is outstanding. I went and I got your cloth map. As you can tell, my Cafe Bustelo is kicking in.
Thank you. I've had a lot of coffee too, so
yeah. I'm not feeling too good. I had to cancel a game day today. I just wasn't feeling good.
Oh, I was going to ask, Irene, what did you? I don't know what you eventually ended up with for a map, because last time I had saw you talking about the map and what you were going to print it on because of the different quality that your original map was going to lose some of its texture and lose some of the text. So what you eventually go with? Is it just pure cloth, or is it more of a plastic?
It's cloth, but it's canvas. So the conundrum I was having wasn't plastic or cloth. It was, should I go with a more thin but smooth silk cloth texture, or something that was a thicker, rough canvas texture? And the issue was, because a map has all these small details and text on it, when I did the test prints with the canvas map, and thank God I'm really picky and always do test prints with my factory, the small text wasn't reading. So at first I was debating, should I go with the silky material, which is kind of like if you've gotten anime scrolls and like image scrolls as wall hangs. That's kind of what wall hangs are, the same kind of light cloth. But I had really wanted it to be canvas. I ended up going with canvas, but adjusting the text. So I went through, adjusted like 50 layers of text and made them, it's all these tricks, like more outline, made them bolder, doubled them, all these Photoshop things. And I made my factory, bless their heart, reprint like 3 test runs, but it looks great now.
Good to know, because I have to do a map for Crom the Destroyer, so that's
cool.
Great to know.
Yeah, more world maps. Yes.
Yeah, I want to make a city map, but it's not going to be on cloth or anything, because it's a city map. I want to make like a blueprint, at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Definitely.
Yeah. See, and this is what I'm talking about. Talking to people, getting ideas. I got coins made up for. I want to make these coins for my comic. I found a great guy to make coins. Yeah.
Heck yeah. If you guys want to know my factory, I know a guy. I know a guy.
Yeah.
My factories and standees, it's all the same.
Yeah, my
guy.
factory is American factory. These come out to be like $1 each. Awesome.
My factory is Taiwanese, but that's because I'm from Taiwan. And I refuse to have anything made in China, but they're cool. So come to me if you want that.
There's a good question there. Someone says, will there be a Fiendish RPG game?
Oh, yes. I mean, I hope so. That's something that I would want. I've been saying I wanted from the beginning, because if you've seen the trading cards that I have as stretch goals for both Fiendish 1 and 2, and those are kind of like the stretch goal, like the default stretch goal items. Everybody knows I'm gonna have trading cards, but they're statted out on the back with Pathfinder stats. So I pick every book, and the main characters all statted out at this point. But I have, with chapter 2, I had like a magical item. I had an animal, which is Casimir has this pet cat, this like giant snow leopard that is called a frost fang in my world. It's a big snow leopard, and like she statted out and stuff, and like all these magical creatures. And every book, I'll just pick a bunch of stuff, stat them out in Pathfinder because I play a lot of Pathfinder. And eventually, I wanted to do a tabletop tie-in that was essentially kind of like a Pathfinder skin, and I realized because of the magic system, my magic system is totally different than Pathfinder. I can't really do that, but I have tried, like, started talking to some game designers about it, and then it's like, yeah, let's totally do this. Yes, we're going to do this. You do games, I have an idea, and I play a lot of games. Yeah, let's design something for Fiendish, and then we both get busy and just stop talking. So this has happened like 3 times at this point, but yes, I would like to expand into an RPG at some point.
You should take a look at the Cthulhu RPG because it does have stuff like interesting stuff like save throws for madness and things like that, because your world and your monsters draw on that sort of world as well, if I remember.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
My whole comic, Heroic Tales, is based on my playing on a role-playing game called Villains and Vigilantes. And I reached out to the guy who publishes it, and I haven't heard anything. And a couple of people said that they knew him or whatever. So I'm trying to do things properly. And I would love to make trading cards with my characters statted out in role playing. You know what I mean? And maybe even as stretch goals or add other people's characters that I'm friendly with. Like we'll make a Thomas Valiant statted out in Villains and Vigilantes or something like that. If you know, I think the guy who does Thomas Valiant might let me do stuff like that. He's okay.
he might.
Oh yes, Alex, I've learned this. When Sharon goes off on her rant,
Sharon, you can just call me Renee if that's
when Renee goes off on her rant.
Yeah, I'd rather have that.
Oh yes, I wanted to bring this up. Thank you for reminding me. You were carving dice. Yes. Okay.
Disappeared again for the dice.
Is okay. All right. So you're okay there, RJ. Just to let you know.
Gordon Goodbrother is a good man.
You're just okay.
You want to see something cool? Look at my dice. Look. Okay, all right, they awesome. So I probably breathe like 50 gallons of plastic fumes, but here you go.
You're pulling back just a little bit.
Oh okay. My word, this light, Lord.
There you go. Yeah, those are your runes that you made up, right?
Yeah, this is the fantasy language, the constructed language that is actually fully functional. I have like 500 words at this point, which is decent. It's not everything, but I can manage to like the characters actually do speak it in the comic. But these are Nanarsa.
Oh, what's the Nanarsan word for burrito?
Well, that's a word that I don't have yet because it's only 500 words, but I'll think of something soon. But yeah, these are the numbers, and I have this kind of like, I don't know, this side that's the 20. My gosh.
There you go.
The kind of fiery side that's the 20, and then I have this side that's like this pit. That's always the 1 because I wanted to have some like graphical elements, not just the numbers. I thought having them all numbers would be boring. And here's the D4 has like the 1.
Now you got to make another one.
I know, I just broke in all the other numbers. And here you go. So I have a whole set. And some of them are a little different. Just be warned,
though, if you roll them, is there a chance that you could summon up some sort of real demon?
You might, but I will absolve myself of all responsibility with that.
Right. Just roll them in a magic circle, guys. Take all precautions.
Yeah, you're supposed to learn the runes from the secret code that I put in the comic before you use these dice. It's not my fault if you summon.
There you go. Plausible deniability. I love
keep dropping them. Anyways, these I have found somebody to cast them. We're doing tests right now. So he's doing tests with some existing dice, and I'm hoping to offer it either with a RPG campaign or with Fiendish 3. So there you go.
Summoning demons it's an undocumented feature. Yes. There you go. Yeah. Everybody knows. See, you learn safety protocols here over at Comicbook Team Up. Roll those dice within a circle of salt.
Yes.
There you go.
You can't read. Oh no. Thankfully, I draw pictures too. I hope that helps.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about dialogue.
Yeah.
I know RJ's talked about it. He's been quoting from the Gospel According to Will Eisner about in each panel you kind of have like, you know, like this is us talking. Hey, you want to get pizza? And then RJ will be like, yeah, let's get pizza. And then if I was to say something else, that's the start of a new panel. How do you feel about that? Like one statement and a response, and then if there's a third response, that's the beginning of a new panel. I mean, I know that's not a hard, fast rule, but
it's for Will Eisner, it was a hard and fast rule.
right. Yeah. Who am I to argue with Will?
I don't think that's a hard and fast rule. I think there's a point which it gets ridiculous. It's dialogue and lettering are one of those things that are highly instinctual, which doesn't help people that are learning to do it right. But there are certain tips for writing good dialogue and lettering well. But at the end of the day, it's sort of judge for yourself whether too many like questions and answers are too much or uncomfortable for the reader, because there are multiple factors in play. Is it if it's just characters saying, "Did you want that? No. Are you sure? Yes." Then that's fine. You can have that all in one panel because it's short words and it's not confusing. But if it's like they're going on like one paragraph question, then one paragraph answers, and you have multiple layers of that stacked in one panel, that's annoying. Right. So it's also more about the quantity of words and about clarity, because that's what you're aiming for with both the visuals and the dialogue, the text and the dialogue boxes should all cohesively work together for clarity.
Do you have like a standard amount of panels per page? Like, you know, like the Watchmen that had the 9-panel grid and they didn't stray, you know, and I understand that was an experiment. You know, I'm looking back at old, you know, Jack Kirby comics and old to look at panel layout, you know, kind of stuff that you have to pay attention when you want to work on your own comics. What do you think about that? Is there a maximum or a minimum? I mean, minimum of 1, obviously.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot. The first thing I actually think is important is your print size. And American Comics is one print size, but because I grew up, you know, reading manga, and then I also read a lot of European comics, but then you know, American comics, it's the print size directly influences panel count. With manga, it's much less panels. I think manga averages 4, 5, 6 panels. American comics average 5, 6, 7. European comics are more than that, like 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. And they print so much larger. Sometimes you have like 11 panels a page, but it works for their print size because their print size is like a calendar. And so that's the first thing to take into consideration. Also, it's just that specific page. Like if you've read We 3, I've actually been revisiting that book recently.
Tell me that comic does make you
that
cry.
Book. It's so sad. It's so sad. My God. But yeah, and that was one of the comics we had to study in the school, and it was the study in crazy paneling and how that worked. Even though you had these spreads with a million insets of all the animals and expressions and stuff, but it worked because it was done in a way that wasn't confusing. The clarity was maintained, I think, is the point.
Yeah. So anything for newbies, like a guy like this over here, like I don't know if this is good to admit or not, but I look at a page in my mind and I'm like, okay, it's going to be 5 panels unless I think otherwise, you know, because I've been, you know,
here's my suggestion, John, just because you're working with Renzo. So about half of the pages that I did the script for, I said, Renzo, go to town. And, you know, once you get a feel for what the artist can do with the panel layouts, then you understand a lot more what you can do with your dialogue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Yeah, that's great. That's great advice. I think starting with 5 to 6 panels for an American comic print size. Sorry, I kind of got on a tangent, but that's a good starting point. But when I was drawing for writers, I really appreciated when writers were clear that this is script, but if you feel like you can combine the 2 panels, or if you want to add a panel, I'm not going to, you know, flip out about it. And it's a collaboration. that was really nice to hear, because sometimes when you're working things out visually, there's things that the writer didn't think about. So it helps.
Yeah. So obviously you're doing 90% of everything on your own over here. When you were working with artists, was there ever times when you were just like, oh man, this is not going to work, I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to, this is why it's not going to work? Or do you just like, well, the writer is telling me what to do, this is what I'm going to do?
When I was drawing for writers?
Yeah, when you are just like, as John Byrne used to call it, the art robot. When he referred to himself as the art robot, that meant he's just doing what he's told. When he upped it to a co-creator, that meant he was changing things and working things. But he was so passive aggressive that he had to let people know, if this fails, it's not me, I'm just the art robot.
Yeah, that's I think that's sadly what my experience working in publisher comics was. It's you're the art robot. Though I do have to say, the artists that I worked with when I was at Marvel, they were all, they were all great to work with. They were I like the writers I work with. They were all communicated this sort of idea of, this is the script, but if you feel like you need to change anything, go ahead, just let me know. That's great. And so I didn't think there was anything that they wrote that would completely break the storytelling, that I couldn't, that I didn't have leeway to fix. It's sort of like, this is the way that I enjoyed working with a writer, was the writer laid out plot, characters, dialogue, all that stuff. And as far as panel descriptions and page layouts went, they had a rough panel breakdown, like this is what happens in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then setting the mood and the what you want to get across. You're fighting, and this is like rising action, and then this is like the big punch. That's what I need to know, but exactly the minutia of how that happens, I think it's a bit of a pain to be micromanaged as an artist. At least I didn't like that. I don't want to be micromanaged on exactly how that happens. Like, this has to be like a 3/4 upshot, and you have to have like Spider in this corner. I'm like, can you leave it up to me? Like, I can figure it out. I have ideas too. At least that's how I preferred it.
What about you brought up the fight scenes? I mean, obviously you could embellish a fight scene to be 3/4 of a book. When and in your comic being Swords and Sorcery, there's going to be fight scenes. There has been fight scenes. How do you decide what's enough? Like.
Well, I think fight scenes shouldn't exist just because you want there to be fight scenes. What fight scenes are an extension of the character's struggles. So I know there's sort of a criticism that has a strong point, that there needs to be more action, that comics should, as a visual medium, and we should have more action, especially if it's superhero comics. And it's ridiculous that there are superhero comics now that don't have fight scenes.
Right. Yeah.
But if,
like
for example, with
TV show, there would be whole episodes.
Right.
Why is this Superman show?
Well, what's happening is they want to draw shoujo, and if you want to draw shoujo, go draw shoujo. Don't draw superhero books. But
let me just. Do I want to Google what shoujo is? Because I don't know what this term means.
It's manga made for girls, which is not a bad thing.
Okay, in my mind, it went completely.
No, it's just for manga for young girls, which has a very that's fine. Talking about. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just different genre. It's not shonen. It's not action. So
shonen is manga for boys, and shoujo
is for girls. Shonen is for boys. Yeah, I know we're in America. We'd never be allowed to say that, but that's how it is in Japan, insane countries. But yeah, I think at least with the fight scenes I'm actually trying to shorten the fight scenes as much as possible for chapter 3, which is hard, and it's actually a struggle, which is good, because I think I want every fight scene to last no longer than it needs to be, but not be shorter than it needs to be, and every panel matters. That's what my personal goal is, and I hope I can reach it soon. Is I don't waste a page, I don't waste a panel. Every panel has a purpose, and every scene is not just there because I think this will be cool. There should be a purpose to the fight. So this fight scene happens not just because the characters are traveling in the woods and I have a cool idea for a monster. No, the fight scene should happen because this character has been fighting with this other one, and because of the noise, they get themselves in trouble. They attract this other monster, and then they have to like put their differences aside while they're fighting this monster to work together, and they make up afterwards. You tie in the character development, or if it's a character facing up against a villain, that plays into their journey towards trying to go up against this impossible villain, and you see them like failing and then improving and failing, but improving a little more, and all those steps. Every fight scene should matter towards the actual story, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it absolutely does. You know, again, I'm writing a superhero comic, and it has to be fighting, and I found myself, you know, no problems with the character interactions and everything. And then when it came to a fight, I'm like, am I just drawing this out for the sake of drawing it out because people expect it? Like, is this necessary? And, you know, and it never happened until I sat down to actual type, you know what I mean? Just, you know, is this just, I'm trying to think of like a, I can't even think of the word, like an extraneous scene. Is this just like, you know, gratuitous, or what? That's the word I was looking at. Is this just gratuitous? But, you know, I wanted to show off what the character could do, what the bad guy could do, create some drama. And that's harder than I thought. Jeez, that was excruciating.
Yeah, that really is the hardest part. But like all that hard work where you're just bashing your head against the wall, trying to think about character development, it's worth it, because when things fall into place and they click, and it's so worth it. It's just it's indescribable. But like I would say it's great to want more action and more fight scenes, but what I try to do is, you know, I would think about more character development to add into that space and make those fight scenes matter and make things exciting. Though I really think because story is about character at the end of the day,
right.
If your character conflict is solid, if the characters basically have a lot to fight about all the time, then you will never have a shortage of fight scenes. Or whether you want fight scenes or talking scenes, like you can have a little leeway in how they express that conflict, but just having them have different points of views and having the conflict be very clear and having multiple characters, you just throw that all these like very clearly laid out character personalities into a pot, and they almost just speak for themselves.
I like the rule that Mike Barron has: no talking during fight scenes. He says the fight scene itself is the conversation. That's what you're going to get for a conversation, the action, when you have a fight scene. That's the Mike Barron rule. And I always think that's the best rule for doing a fight scene.
You've never been in a bar fight, RJ, or when you take up the bar stool, you go have at the villain right before smashing him over the head?
My bar fights are very, very short.
I wind back like this, and I go, now I'll get you. You know,
you tell them your manifesto in like you stand there for 10 minutes, and they just sit there and listen to you without fighting back.
And they politely put their chin right here while, you know.
Right, and if it's manga, then they also have to name their attack with the chair.
Yeah, that's
Nobody
funny.
got that reference. But...
No, I got it. Spinning, you know, spinning dragon kick, whatever.
Spinning Texas punch.
Yeah, spinning. It's funny in my role playing games when we were kids, that the kids we'd all name our attacks, you know, and I give them different pluses if you know it made us laugh.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
So I gotta
do a gaming stream sometime. Sorry.
Oh yes, role playing. I keep joking about this, and the more I joke about it, the more I realize I want to do it. I would love to have a role playing session, you know, like you know, RJ, you make up Thomas Valiant, you know, Brian Batsy will make up Wolf, and Batsy, Rini, you can make up, you know, any number of 100 characters in Phoenix, and we'll stat them out. And actually, I'll be the dungeon master, and you know, I'll make up a villain, and that would be funny. But you know, until RJ's like, oh, Thomas Valiant could you know, he could absorb powers. He could you know, stops making powers on the fly. What happened? You know, it's in the next issue.
You know, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would love to.
Yes.
I'd love to have that, like, have Ethan. He stats out Cyberfrog, and we make up a.
Oh my gosh, we need to get Ethan into tabletops. Wouldn't that be wild?
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, that would be fun.
But it's a really obsessive hobby, so maybe I don't know. I don't want to make anyone else suffer.
Yeah, do we get Cecil to role play as Cecil? That I don't know.
Cecil would probably be great at it. He would just be like secretly really good at tabletops.
I
like this plan. I like this plan. We're gonna convert them.
Jokes are she already started them out. Yes, I've done that too. I actually have sheets of my characters, and I rolled out the fights on sheets by myself when nobody's around, just to see how it would go according to the rules.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
really?
So I gotta ask, in the light of all of this, also this controversy in the past 2 weeks. So, RJ and Renee, who are your self-insert characters?
Wait, there's a self-insert controversy?
I'm joking. That whole Glenn, the comic book guy. All right, that joke fell flat. Good night, everybody.
Oh no! Sorry, I just haven't been paying attention. I'm sorry.
That whole big thing with Mark Miller and everything, like people don't want to see their self-inserts.
They
don't. So I'm joking. Who's your self-insert? Which one of the fiendish characters is your mouthpiece? And Thomas, which one? It's RJ. Are you Crom the Destroyer? And if so, please stay in Canada.
No. I think my self-insert was in my novel manuscript, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I think. Oh, sorry.
Oh, talk about a joke bombing. This joke's going over as well as Oppenheimer in Japan.
No. I get it now. I get what because he was saying that all these Marvel writers just want to put their self-inserts or put their ideologies before the mantle that they have been handed from previous creators. That's the problem. But right. I don't do self-inserts because the comic isn't just. I think it's hard to not. Every character you create has a little bit of you in it. Every writer is, through their characters, exploring part of their own personalities. But good writers would be able to separate themselves from their writers, and their characters become different people and separate personalities because you have empathy and you're able to see things from another person's point of view. The problem with, I think, a lot of these writers in the mainstream right now, bad ones, are that they're not able to do that. They can only see things from their point of view, and they think they're not self-critical either. So they write characters that are exactly like themselves that are also aggrandized. So what happens is they write books that are little more than self-aggrandizement. There isn't even just a self-insert character that's self-reflective, which writers have done in the past that can be good. So I don't think self-inserts are always good. The problem is when narcissists do it.
Absolutely. I'm my own worst enemy on Twitter. Some guy was saying that Silver Surfer is Stan Lee's self-insert. It's his mouthpiece, and he said so. And then he showed me a quote where Stan Lee was like, "Yeah, I had Silver Surfer say things that I believe." I'm like, "Okay, well, show me examples." And it was just like, "The Earth is beautiful. Why can't there be war?" And I'm like, "Well, who believes the Earth is ugly and who believes in war?" I mean, these are just universal statements. This isn't Stan Lee's personal politics. Vote for, I don't know who the hell he's talking about voting for, or you know what I mean, or his stance on abortion or anything. But the world is beautiful. Oh my God, Stan Lee is so controversial with these self-insert characters. There's only Dr. Doom would say the world needs to be destroyed or something. So these people don't even know what a self-insert is, and they're railing against a guy getting mad at him. So let's see. I see a bunch of names here. There's a name here that I never saw before. I wanted to say hello to. What did he delete it? Oh well.
I know.
I apologize, John, but it is now 10:30. I'm going to have to start my own stream over in my channel. So okay. I want to thank you very much, Irene and John, for a great conversation.
Yeah, it was great talking to you again. We need to talk again.
Definitely.
I guess anything you want to say? Anything you want to say, Irene, before we call it quits? Because I have a talk with Mandy Summers pretty soon.
Oh, just everybody check out Fiendish fiendishcomic.com is the website where it's the center of operations for the entire project. Go check it out. There's a shop. There's a preview for both chapters, and then the current campaign, that's Fiendish 2.5. That's the first standalone one-shot to the Fiendish series. Is also mirrored on the website, but it's hosted on Fund My Comic. If you back it on Fund My Comic or the website, it's all the same. So check it out, please. And I'm also working hard on Chapter 3. Actually, the thumbnails for Chapter 3. 2.5, the art is done. We're just coloring it now. So take a look. Hope you guys like it, and thank you so much for having me on, John. This was awesome.
Oh, anytime. You're a great guest, RJ. Again, RJ is the first person to reach out and talk to me. I love RJ. I could do this all night long with everybody, but I've learned from experience it's best to cut it about an hour because I start to fade.
Yeah. Oh, an hour is like so little time, but I also have to go because I have a stream. But
you have a stream, and Mandy Summers was. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just like, it's 10:30 where he is. What is he in the middle?
He's in a different time zone. He's up north and then this way. So I think somewhere in the Yukon territory near. He's a mountain man out there.
Whoa,
that's why he doesn't have power up at his outhouse apartment.
He
just got like satellite hookup because he would have to go to his sister's house in a town to stream.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's why I joke he's friends with Bigfoot. Yeah,
he is Bigfoot.
Yeah, I had a talk that was supposed to be 2 hours earlier with Mandy, but she had a sudden family come over and asked to switch. So I gotta get ready for Mandy. So again, you have a stream now over in your channel?
Yes, I do. I'm doing a promo stream, so if everyone wants to check it out.
What's the name of your channel? Renee Draws, right? On YouTube?
Oh yeah, Renee Draws. I'm Renee Draws everywhere. Yep. So and I stream most Wednesdays around like 9:30 Eastern.
Okay. So cool. So
join us if you like.
So go check her out, and then and an hour from now I'll be back with Mandy Summers talking about. I just got all of her comics. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
How about you, Sharon Draws? Go check out Sharon Draws on YouTube.
Sharon Draws. Yes. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.